Welcome everybody who is watching on YouTube or who is watching on Zoom. We're beginning our service tonight. It's great that we are able to come together to celebrate the Sabbath on Zoom. It's a perfect night to do it, obviously, because of the St. Patrick's Day festival stuff still going on in Savannah, downtown. So it's a pleasure to come together as we do each month. And I'll mention everybody, we may have to change next month. We'll even have to see if it's possible next month because a lot of things going on. But what we have tonight is our once a month service. Welcome to Kelly, who is leading us in music all the way from a northern land called California, or maybe North Carolina. I forgot which one. Welcome Flo and Margie, and welcome Noel, welcome Glenn, welcome Caden, and welcome Leslie. I'm sure we'll have more people joining us in a little bit. We also have we have online, obviously, our wonderful service provided to us from the URJ. So you can go online to see it, and I'm going to put on share now. As you can see, we're on page 2 or page 120, as we use 2 page numbers for our service. I'm going to invite Caden to lead us in the prayer over the candles, even as I light them. So I'm going to turn it over here, and hopefully y'all can see them. Now invite Caden to lead us. And Caden, you're still on mute, just to let you know. I'll ask you to unmute. That should make it easier for you. There you go. Perfect.
There you go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Caden. As we're going to turn to page 344 and invite Leslie to lead us in our opening song or prayer, 344 or 648, as she's going to lead us in Shir Chadash, a new song. It's so great to have you, Kelly, once a month. And you're on mute still, just to let you know.
Scared me. I mean, not scared me, but you took me aback. I thought we were about to hear Leslie sing a solo, which would have been wonderful.
Leslie, we would love to hear you sing a solo. I don't want to rush her into anything, so I'm going to give her about 5 minutes to find one and prepare. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to now turn to page 7 or page 125, as we're going to invite Flo to lead us in our opening reading. Page 7 or 125. Flo, if you'd read it let's see if I can make it. There we go. Read whichever one, either the top one or the bottom two. And Flo, you're still on mute. Sorry. Perfect.
Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Amen. Thank you very much. As we're going to turn to page 20 and sing Lecha Dodi, also 138. Kelly, we're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 as usual. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. All right.
Shabbat.
Verse 5. Verse 9. Now we're going to turn to page 28 or 146 as Kelly is going to lead us in the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai.
On page 31, I'm going to invite Margie. Would you read the prayer for creation at the top of the page, please? where it says praise in you, page 31 or 149.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamarav Avraham.
Thank you, Marges. We're going to invite Kate now to lead us in Ahavat Olam. On page 32 or 150, our prayer of God's love.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta, Otanu lemadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochmenu u'vkumenu na'asiyah bechukecha, v'nismach v'divrei toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem Alaynu, ve'orek yameinu, ubahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. V'ahavatcha al tasir, mimeinu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Thank you, Caden, for leading in that prayer beautifully. As I listen outside to the pitter patter of the rain, I think about the fact that we're still a month away from Passover, where the traditional end of the rainy season comes in Israel. So it's very apropos that just after Purim, we see it raining. I'm going to invite Glenn. Would you lead us at the translation for this prayer at the top of page 34 or 33 or 151? If you need to read on the screen, I'll do that. Let's do the one at the bottom then, and I'll enlarge it for you. How's that? And you're still on mute.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Thank you. As we go to the next page and invite Kelly to lead us in Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malkuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Thank you, Kelly. As we're going to turn to page 36 or 154, as Keaton is going to lead us in Ve'ahavta, prayer of God's commandments.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'kol levavecha v'kol nafshecha v'kol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'eh asher anoki mitzavcha hayom al babecha v'shinantam lebanecha v'tibatam v'shitaka betecha uvalektacha b'derek uv'shachtaka uv'kumecha ukshatam leot al yadecha ve'ayu latotafot b'neinecha uktabtam al mezuzot betecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkaru v'atzitem ekol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim leoikem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'ot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Thank you, Keaton. As we're going to invite Noel to lead us in the translation of the Ve'ahavta. Noel, I just invited you to unmute, so just need to press that button. Perfect.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of Egypt, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Thank you very much. As we're now going to go to page 39 or 157, as I'm going to invite Leslie, our wonderful president, to lead us in the translation of our prayer of redemption at the bottom of the page.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Thank you. As we're going to go and invite Kelly to lead us in our prayer of freedom on the next page, Micha Mocha. Thank you, Kelly. As I'm now going to put Hashkivenu on the screen. This is our prayer as we ask God to protect us while we sleep in the evening. I'm going to invite Kelly to lead us in this beautiful rendition. Thank you, Kelly. That was beautiful. We're now going to return to our prayer book as we're going to turn to page 44 or 162. There we find Vishamru, our prayer of the Sabbath, as we're going to invite Kelly to lead us again, page 44 or 162. Thank you, Kelly. That was beautiful. As we're now going to turn to page 48 or page 166, as Caton is going to lead us in the vote, and then we're going to go to page 50 or 168 for the Giverot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, B'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor B'Hanorah, El Elyon, Omer Chasatim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Vesocher Chasei Avot Be'imaot, Umebigu Alevnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshil Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Be'ezrat Serah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mekayeh HaKol Atah Rab LaHoshia, V'chahel Ha'im B'chesed, Mekayeh HaKol B'rakamim Rabim. So make no flim B'ofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Giburot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'neman atah v'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai v'chayei hakol.
Thank you, Caton. As we're going to go to page 53 or 171, as we continue the Amidah, I'm going to invite Margie. Would you lead us at the top of the page? I believe you have a prayer book.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Perfect. Thank you, Margie. As we're going to go to the bottom of page 55 or 173 for another of our prayer for the Sabbath, which is found at the middle of the Amidam. I invite Flo to lead us in this prayer.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm going to ask Flo for this one, but no, I have another one coming up for you.
Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude that arises from the shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical, spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat that gives us the delusion of satisfaction amid the world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of tepor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred into action. Baruch atah Adonai, HaKadosh HaShabbat.
Thank you, Flo. As we're now going to continue on page 57 or 175, as we're going to invite Kelly to lead us in our prayer Ritzeh, which in this form is known as Ever-Present One. Thank you, Kelly. That was spectacular. As now, Noel, we're going to invite you to read the bottom of the page here.
Okay.
It says, you are
with us. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answers to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let us, our worship, bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'oha lavacha v'yafra navod.
Beautiful. Thank you. As we're going to go to the next page, actually 2 pages over on page 58. And we're going to invite Glenn. Would you read us where it says, when we behold our prayer of thanksgiving?
When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us a little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulcha na'eh lahadot.
Amen. Thank you. As we're going to invite Kelly to lead us in our prayer of peace, Shalom Rav, on the next page, page 60 or 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon L'kol HaShalom. Ki ata Melech Adon L'kol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'kol ein u'b'kol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Kelly. And we're going to conclude the section we're doing now is we're going to sing a Misha Berach, a prayer of healing. You can find it on page 253 or page 371. As I invite everyone on YouTube, but also those who are on Zoom, to say any names aloud of people they know who are in need of healing. And Noah, you can just go ahead and say it.
My sister, Susan.
Ron Fagan,
Robin Edwards,
Ellen Jones,
Ron Schwartz, Dr. Maury Levy, Billy Cohen, Alvina Leader. We invite Kelly now to lead us in the middle of the page with Debbie Friedman's Misha Berach.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us,
Now let's take a moment of private meditation. Now invite Caton to lead us in Oseh Shalom. And Caton, I just asked you to unmute. There you go. Perfect.
All right, say again.
Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom, Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom, Alaynu, Ve'alko, Yisrael, Ve'emeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom, Alaynu, Ve'alko, Yisrael, Ve'emeru, Amen.
Thank you, Caton. Thank you, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Before we continue, does anybody want to share anything they are celebrating right now? Anyone? Anyone? All right. So we'll say a Shechianu as we just celebrated Purim. And why not? Because we got Passover coming up, and I think there's another holiday in Savannah somewhere, or maybe around the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal God, ruler of the universe, who creates us and sustains us and brings us to times of great joy. Amen. Now, we're going to talk more about it tomorrow, but this is Women's History Month. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of women in Judaism, especially as we look to this entire book of Leviticus, which centers on the priestly clan and the sacrificial system at the temple, and before that at the tent of meeting, which of course is only done by men, and particularly the priestly clan, which of course are through the blood, but can only be the men. And we'll talk a little bit about the change in women and our view of women and women's roles in Judaism over the last several thousand years. So we'll do that tomorrow. We're now going to go back to our prayer book as we're going to go to Alaynu, which you can find on page 282 or page 386. We're going to sing the one that is at the bottom of the page, 282 or 386. I'll put it back on our screen right now, as we're invite Caton to lead us in Alaynu again at the bottom of the page.
Alaynu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo shamanu kemishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vego aleinu kekol hamonam, anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lefnei melech malchei amlakim, akadosh baruch hu.
And Caton, we're going to continue on page 287 or 591 as we invite you to lead us in B'nai Amar.
V'nema v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hu vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo 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 echad.
And before we read from Kaddish, we're going to turn to page 291 or page 595. And there we're going to sing Yesh Kochavim, also known as There Are Stars Up Above. And we're going to invite Keaton to lead us. Again, page 291 or 595.
Yesh kochavim Yoram Magiata Rakashem Atmam Abduveina Yesh Anashim Sheziv Zikra Meir Kashahem Atmanenam Od Berocheinu Orole Hamavkikim Becheshkar Halayim Heim Shemarim La'adam Et Haderek Heim Shemarim La'adam Et Haderek There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember.
Thank you, Caden. Page 293 or page 597 at the bottom of the page. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, the graves of those who are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We take a moment now to honor the memory of the men and women who gave their lives defending our country as members of armed forces, defending our country as members of police forces. We remember those who died in Ukraine over the past couple of weeks as we continue to honor their memory and pray for the country as a whole. Remember the yahrzeit anniversary of Marie Dotson. I apologize. Dr. Leroy S. Harris, Catherine M. Kaufman, Charles Lichtman, Shirley Meckler, Joseph H. Mendes Jr., Rose G. Michaels, Clemmy Mayer Pekinson, Arthur Rosenthal, Adele Medin Schneider, Faye Schwartz, Lawrence Meyer Steinheimer Sr., Sam L. Trotz, Benjamin F. Sheftel, Will Taylor, Max Tripanik. We send our thoughts to the family of Marie Dotson, whose yahrzeit is not at this time, who died this past week and was laid to rest as we honor her memory. Remember also Marie Simons, the brother-in-law of Marcia Behrens, and Karen Friedenberg, the sister-in-law of Amy Rosenthal. Does anybody else have the name of someone they'd like to add? Kaddish praise is on the next page, page 598, or 294?
My father, Abe Tolsky. I'm sorry I didn't get it in fast enough.
No worries. You got it in now, no? Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chaydecho beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kari v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach l'olam omeil maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu leila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata, Tamiram be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chaim Alaynu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mrumav, Hu yaseh shalom, Alaynu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say amen. And now it's a pleasure to invite up our president, our Parnasit, Leslie Westmoreland.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rabbi, for leading such a lovely service. Thank you, Caton and Kelly, for the beautiful music. And thank you to everybody else who participated today. I too echo Rabbi's sentiments that we can't help, but as we're so lucky to be able to be gathering together virtually today, so we could even welcome our members from Texas and North Carolina from Kelly, to be thinking about the people who are not so fortunate in the Ukraine, who aren't able to worship this weekend. I do also want to just make a few announcements today. Everybody needs to remember about the Purim Carnival at the JEA this Sunday at 3:30. I'm sure that will be a wonderful time. Also, as Rabbi said, Passover is coming up. We are looking to have an in-person Seder this year. It'll be our first one since the start of the pandemic. But it is important, if you're interested in going, that you call and make a reservation. We have to decide location and whether we have one or two based on the number of people who are interested. So it's important that we get a good count of who wants to participate in that. Remember, tomorrow there's in-person services at 11 o'clock. I hope to see you all there. And also, I also want to mention the Fiddler on the Roof campaign. We have our air conditioners up and running, and they're just about finished with the roof on the social hall. They're working on getting the last fixes into the roof, and so we can do the inside plaster work on the sanctuary. But, and so many people have been so generous, and thank you to each person who's made a contribution. But if you haven't, it is not too late. Please call the temple or go online. You can make it on our webpage, and please give what you can. We'd really love to see the vast majority of the congregation participate in whatever way they can. And if you're a visitor watching, we'd love for you to participate too. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It has been a wonderful month so far. We had the 2 Purim events. We had Glenn starting his Intro to Judaism. We had Karen leading a Wednesday night study session. We had a concert at the synagogue. We had a Purim spiel at the synagogue. We had a movie at the synagogue. We had special singer at this. So it's been nice to be able to celebrate all together in person and on Zoom or YouTube at the same time for the first time in 2 years. So thank you to all of you for celebrating the Sabbath with us. And thank you to Glenn for teaching, of course, our Intro to Judaism classes on Mondays at 5. And thank you to everybody else. I want to wish everyone all the best for the weekend. Be safe and as dry as possible. We're going to conclude our service with Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu, which is, of course, a wonderful, wonderful prayer and song. You can turn to page 353 and or page 657, and that's where you'll find it, 353 or 657. I'm going to invite Kelly to lead us. But before we do, please turn to everyone And if there's somebody in your house with you, if not, turn to the camera and wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. You can go off mute for this, by the way.
Shabbat
Sorry.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos,
Shabbat Shalom.
everybody. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. What a great way to conclude the evening.
I'm going to start with a little bit of Kiva Moed. Kiva Moed. Kiva Moed. Kiva Moed. Kiva Moed. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Ve'al kulam. Salam. Alaynu ve'al kol haolam. Olam salam. Salam. Alaynu ve'al kol haolam. Salam. Salam. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Od Yavo Shalom Alaynu. Ve'al kulam.
Thank you, Kelly, for leading us in the beautiful music. Again, as was said earlier, we're now going to turn to page 50123 as we're going to invite Caton to lead us in Motzi and Kiddush. Page 50123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav b'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho B'yahava uvratzon hinchelanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit. Ki hu yom techila v'mekrai kodesh, zecheh litziat mitzrayim. Ki vanu b'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, Mikol hamid, Shabbat kodshaka, B'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Thank you, Caton.
No wine.
Perfect. And so does anybody have a full challah? I have a piece of challah here, as ours was accidentally eaten. Oh, we'll use Flo's. Flo, would you say something so we can see your, go off mute and say something so we can see it?
Something. Just a
All
breath.
right, perfect. And let's sing that together. Caton, would you lead us in Motzi?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Alaynu.
haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you tomorrow at services. And Kelly, would you lead us out?